Oh, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and today we might have some real news about who Sadie Sink is playing in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We got a leaker I've never really heard of before, but they're saying it. People are reporting on it, and I think it's likely that this is true, so we're going to talk about it. I'm pretty excited about Spider-Man Brand New Day, and if this leak is true and Sadie Sink is playing this character, you're probably shouting in the comments right now, then I think it's the best possible person that she could be playing, and that, of course, is Jean Grey. But to talk about this, I'm going to bring on a few of my friends. We got a couple special guests with us today. You know him as the guy who is always on break, Tommy Bechtold. Tommy, how are you?
It's so good to be here. And yes, it does appear as though we finally have confirmation that Sadie Sink will be playing Mojo in Spider-Man.
Exactly.
That is crazy, but every once in a while the internet gets it right, Ryan.
Hey, man, if there's anybody that this talented, Tony-winning, beautiful actress could possibly play,
yes,
it is a big tub of goo TV executive.
Hey, don't forget about his glow up in X-Men 97, please. I mean, he took that
that's true. Yeah, that's true. There was, based on Mojo 2 from the comics. Which, and let's face it, if he's a producer, Mojo, in show business, then of course he would have Ozempic and Botox and all the other weird drug names that nobody ever heard of 5 years ago, but now appear to be standard. And then joining us here, we have Alex Zalben. Zalben, right? Zalben?
Zalben, you nailed it.
Zalben, great. From, what's your name of your podcast again?
Comic Book Club at comicbookclublive.com.
Great podcast over there at Comic Book Club. How are you, Alex? It's good to see you today.
I'm good. I'm so excited that they finally confirmed Sadie Sink as Batman in the DCU.
Hey. Absolutely. It's about time we got a Batman casting. You know, we've been waiting for so long. It is a shame, however, that we have to wait until the Matt Reeves Bat trilogy is done, which means we won't get the DCU Batman introduced until 2035.
We'll be brave and we'll be bold about it, and we'll make our way.
Disgusting. Do you think it's still going to be called Brave and the Bold?
No.
Brave and the Old.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh?
Brave and the Old by that point.
Brave and the Old. Oh my God.
Come on now.
I like that casting, that cat from Jack Reacher as Batman. If they want to do like maybe absolute Batman's popularity, will push that into existence. And finally, the most bitter man here. He's going to hate the news that we're going to launch today. The guy who's trapped in our TV and doesn't know it. So please don't tell him. Colton Ogburn. What's up, my friend?
Okay, let me just start.
Okay.
Home dude ain't gonna play Batman, Reacher guy. No. Sadie Sink, of course not playing Batman. I don't know why you suggest something so silly. And Tommy, what did you say? Mojo?
Mojo.
Obviously, and the most ridiculous one of them all is this idea that she's playing Jean Grey. She's obviously playing Shathra, the wasp entity who oversees spider totems.
And beloved comic book character, Shathra.
Absolutely. No. I had a Shathra poster on my wall before my mom thought it was creepy and told me to take it down.
I have a Shathra poster on my ceiling right now as we speak. So yeah.
That's so. Take that down. That's disgusting. Okay, now. Let's go ahead and address it. Some of you people who don't normally watch our show might be wondering why we're talking about Shathra.
There he goes.
It's because there's a rumor. There was originally a rumor that Sadie Sink was playing this character called Shathra, and it's so weird to even say it. It's exactly what Colton just described. Alex, do you want to pop in real quick with Shathra?
Sure.
I have something I can read right here too.
I know the bare minimum, and I'm going to get some details wrong, but this is a part of a whole like spider totem thing that they get into that honestly is one of my least favorite parts of Spider-Man mythology. If I remember correctly, it goes back to my least favorite Spider-Man villain created by J. Michael Straczynski, who's Morlun, who is basically a Dracula. He's a large Dracula is all you really need to know, and he eats spiders. And that led to a bunch of different Spider-Verse stuff, which obviously we got some great Spider-Verse movies out of it, and there's been some good storylines, but it made things so complicated and mystical, which is one of my least favorite modes for Spider-Man comics. And Shathra is she killing? This part I don't actually remember. She's either killing spider totems or she is part of the web of life and preserving them. It's one of the two.
I believe this is pulled from the wiki, because even though I know I read this comic, I read the whole Straczynski run, the whole Spider-Verse run, every word that Dan Slott ever, I do not remember this character.
For shame.
the list is Shathra is a wasp goddess. I swear to God, who inspired Julie Taymor to direct the musical. She's a wasp goddess.
I thought you were going to say inspired Pam Bondi, but that was...
okay, wait. I'm remembering this now, not to interrupt you,
Bloom
Ryan.
World in Earth 001, right? And originally tasked with weaving the great nest, like a wasp nest, her work was rejected in favor of her sister Neith's great web, which became the web of life and destiny.
So I don't remember where she first showed up. There was when Dan Slott came back to Spider-Man, he wrote a title that was just called Spider-Man. And it was supposed to be like this big team-up book that recently on the Comic Book Club podcast, we talked to Dan, and the original idea of the book was that it was supposed to kind of like set up the movies a little bit. And in this case, Spider-Verse. So she came back and her whole thing was leading wasps to infect and kill all of the spiders in the Spider-Verse to turn them into wasp people instead. So
gotcha.
Crazy complicated.
And Straczynski did create her. I just looked it up. Yeah.
Tons of mythology. The Spider-Verse, they simplified the stuff so well for the movies. They streamlined it so well for the movies because it is a crazy deep dive of the comics that's very complicated. It gets very far away from what I think Brand New Day is about, which is like, it's a street level Spider-Man. So to throw in a wasp goddess who is the sister of a spider goddess who weaves the web of life that binds all Spider-Mans is bonkers.
Finally, we're getting to the storylines the fans care about in these movies, you guys.
Exactly.
You're all haters. Yeah, because introducing Jean Grey, the MCU's like first mutant X-Men mutant.
I'm not saying it's better. Yeah, I'm not saying it's better.
All right. Sorry,
I'm being an ass. Colton, do you want to defend Shathra here? You're the one who's always bringing it up and saying, guys, Shathra.
Look,
or is just this? Do I look dark to you guys? Is my exposure correct, or is my monitor weird?
It's a little low.
I might raise it. While you're talking, I might raise it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, brighten up.
All right. Defend Shathra.
I will defend Shathra. Here's the thing, and I need somebody to insert an image of Ben Grimm when I said that. I don't think.
Yeah, we got to have that handy. Yeah, he's not here.
Yeah. This whole Jean Grey thing, Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey thing, it all started because, oh my God, she has red hair and she's in the MCU, so she must be Jean Grey. I've hated that from the jump. Now, yes, some reliable leakers have been saying
like she can't just have red hair and be cast for that reason.
Yeah, and then and then you had Tommy wanting her to play the real MJ, and he says about Zendaya.
I never said that.
No. Well, not on the podcast, but
right. Sorry,
that's on his burner account.
I said it on Truth Social, where I said all of my real opinions.
I can't believe you're saying this on her wedding day. This is the happiest time in her life, and you're taking away from it. Right?
Wait, guys,
is Sadie Sink getting married today?
To Zendaya.
I've got another crack at this. I've got another crack at this wasp goddess joke. Hang on, let me try.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I thought the Spider-Verse already had a wasp goddess when they cast Sydney Sweeney and Madam Web. Come on, you guys. Come on. We're here. We're back. We're so
back. Speaking of Madam Web, I think this Shathra would make, if Madam Web would have been a big hit and if Sony was doing a connected multiverse Spider-Verse live action thing, I'd be like, guys, she might be Shathra. It could happen. They could make Shathra a thing.
Well, because it makes sense. I mean, if this is a continuation of No Way Home, Shathra is a multiversal character.
What makes sense about a wasp goddess? Well, you would just cast Madam Web in the movie, or Moreland, or somebody else.
Yeah, you could. But she's a multiversal character. She's a spider. Are we really? Did Feige really have the idea? Let's introduce Jean Grey in the.
All right. Well, hold on. Let's get to that in a second. We do have some super chats who are coming up, and I want to just address a couple of these as we go along. But we're going to do most of them toward the end. But I want to talk about our first one real quick. This is from Twit. And she has mind control. Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. The main rumor we keep hearing is that this character that she's playing has mind control powers like Shathra. Okay. Twizdick gave us Twiztid AR gave us $20. Thanks so much. Hey gang, first time on the live, but not new to the channel. Excited to be here. Love the channel and the content. I watch at work all the time. Count me in for more future lives. LFG. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the $20. Appreciate that. And you know what, guys? If you're watching and you want to give us some money, that's great. We encourage it, but we don't require it. Sorry to interrupt you there, Colton.
I hope your job's not important if you watch from work.
Yeah. I hope you are not, a security
lives.
guard.
Air traffic controller.
Air traffic controller, right?
I just think it's way more likely, and I'm happy to be wrong. I mean, I think Sadie Sink would be a fantastic Jean Grey, but I think that rumor stemmed from, oh, she's redheaded. There's so many other characters I would think she would play, but I think she'd be Rachel Summers before she's Jean Grey. Mayday Parker before she's Jean Grey.
Well, hold on. You're burning through all of these. This is the entire segment that I want to talk
my
about
bad.
now.
All right.
No, it's okay. Which is, who else do you think she could be? Now, I agree. Mayday Parker, great character in the comics. She's Spider-Man's dad from another universe. Her dad's lost a leg, so he can't be Spider-Man anymore. She has powers, and we get to see a young Spider-Girl. That would be cool. But I think if they were going to do that, like, wouldn't this be a multiversal movie, or wouldn't they have introduced her in the last movie? She could be, though. She could be.
I like the idea of Mayday Parker, whether it's time travel or multiverse or something like that, because kind of I think what you're getting at, Colton, is it keeps it interior to the movie. It's not like we're teasing the X-Men because they're going to show up in Doomsday and Secret Wars, and then down the road we're going to have a mutant saga. Instead, it's about Spider-Man, which I do think one of the things that No Way Home did really successfully, even though it was a multiverse movie, is it pulled off this magic trick of making it about Tom Holland's Spider-Man first and foremost. Yeah. That, of course, they wanted to bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all the other characters, but ultimately they were there to serve Tom Holland's journey. So Jean Grey, to me, I'm on the same page as you, feels distracting. It feels like here's our first real official new X-Men from the MCU X-Men showing up here. That's sort of the headline versus what is the journey he goes on. And if you present it with his daughter from the future, when he is in a place where nobody remembers him, he's anonymous, he's just like this guy going about his day in New York, in the middle of the crowd, doesn't have his girlfriend, doesn't have his friends or anything like that, and he's presented with a possible future, I think that's interesting. That sends him in an emotional journey in an emotional place.
If you're saying if he's Mayday Park, I like the idea of her being Toby's daughter, if she's Mayday Parker, and have some consequences of what happened at the end of No Way Home when that giant rift opened and there were all these villains, and it's been rumored that she knows that he's Peter Parker. That's in the reports, that she knows his secret identity. So it again
because
makes sense
a telepath
that she's a
that can read his mind.
True, if she's Jean Grey, or if she's Shathra, but she could be a villain who was pulled in and didn't snap back.
First of all, I don't know what you're talking about when you say there's no consequences of the ending. There's a huge consequence. The Vulture is in Morbius's universe, forming the Sinister Six, because it's got something to do with Spider-Man. That's right. I think
there was a huge payoff to that too. There was not.
Oh yeah, there will be. Yeah. No, I know. That's
it's coming.
Yeah.
I have a question.
They have to make us miss them.
You had me on the end of my seat, Alex. I was like,
"Oh no!"
What is it? What is it?
I have a question for people smarter than me. Could she just be like? I mean, the assumption is if she's Jean Grey, like it comes with this like X-Men pedigree. Could she just be Jean Grey from 616, where there are no X-Men? So she has the powers of Jean Grey, but has no idea how to harness them.
100%.
Or could she be Madeline Pryor? Like, could they just do a thing where they pull from the comics the name and give it to a movie character to kind of like make it like she's like Jean Grey, but she's not?
I doubt it. I kind of feel like what they're doing. Remember, Jean Grey was the first X-Man, right? She wasn't in the mansion first, but that's the first like young mutant. Traditionally, it's changed back and forth in the comics that Xavier reached out to because she had this whole thing where her sister died. And she felt her die in her head, and it made her catatonic. And, then later on, when he formed the X-Men, I think she was actually the last person to show up at the mansion in issue 1, but I could be wrong about that. So it makes sense that she would be kicking around the MCU before the others are discovered. And the biggest thing I think for her to be Jean Grey that makes sense to me is it's Sadie Sink. I don't care what color hair she has. If you cast Sadie Sink in this movie, I doubt if you're going to cast her in the MCU as a one-off. So unless they're planning a Shathra cinematic universe or a Firestar cinematic universe, then I think it's the most likely candidate.
And we know she's in Secret Wars. And that's a really good point that you make, that, Sadie Sink, maybe you don't bring her in to play Shathra, because also then that makes her a Sony character. because Shathra would be a Sony
that's true.
property character. So that's a good point there. There are huge implications if they make her Jean Grey, though, prior to Secret Wars. I think if she is confirmed to be Jean Grey, like the mainline MCU Jean Grey, well, what does that tell us about what they're planning to do with this X-Men movie? That kind of tells me that they're planning on keeping a lot of the continuity the same. And maybe the X-Men movie won't be like, oh, mutants have always been around. It's a reset universe. We're still going to maybe be in a situation where mutants are like a brand new thing in the MCU.
Oh, I think they will be for 100%. Yeah. Which is weird. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, I was just going to ask a legal question because I think nobody actually has the answer to this in terms of the contracts between Sony and Marvel. Like, there's a lot of rumors online and there's a lot of talk about it, but I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak to it. But as far as I had always read or heard, and this might just be supposition, but you could have one MCU character or had to have one MCU character in the Sony Spider-Man movies, and we know Bruce Banner is in it. Obviously, like, the Punisher is in it, which feels like a little bit of a wobbly thing to me, potentially. But like you were saying, Colton, if they introduce Jean Grey, who's supposed to go on into the MCU X-Men, what does that mean legally for the character if she's in a Sony movie?
It wouldn't matter because she's just an MCU character that's in the film.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer either, but
I'm just a simple country lawyer, so I don't know.
I'm just a simple country lawyer. I may be a simpleton with an infant growing out of my belly, but even I know the difference between Shathra and Jean Grey. So, Colton, you brought up an interesting thing about Jean Grey and the X-Men post-Secret Wars, right? And this is a problem I've had with, so we're doing this multiverse thing, and the X-Men, the Avengers are going to meet all these other multiversal characters, like how Tom Holland met Norman Osborn. So then when the X-Men appear post-Secret Wars, they're going to be like, oh, I knew a guy named Wolverine. It won't be like, this is the Wolverine. Oh yeah, Jean Grey. Like, and that's the other thing too, is like Famke Janssen has said, and I believe her, that she's not in Doomsday or Secret Wars. And I think the reason for that is because, one, if she was in it, then the big question would continue to be, well, when's the Phoenix going to come out? You have this giant force that can destroy shit. And two, I think it's because we already have a Jean Grey and that's Sadie Sink. So post-Secret Wars, do you think we're going to have like a mind wipe? Or is everybody always going to be like, oh yeah, these are the new X-Men, like the people we met on our big adventure on Battleworld?
Well, we got a mind wipe in Secret Wars, right? When Doom creates Battleworld, a lot of the characters, all they ever knew was Battleworld. When they get restored and like the new universe is created by Frank, they remember the previous universe? Okay.
Yeah.
They don't remember Battleworld, I think. This was actually a plot point in the recent run of Avengers, because they went back and there was this whole thing about that particular piece of information, and Reed Richards, the end of Secret Wars, the comic book, is Reed Richards basically like throwing multiverses out into the multiverse to create them with the rest of the Future Foundation. And so there recently was a plot line that, like, everybody kind of remembers the continuity. There's some soft reboot stuff that happens along the way, but they don't specifically remember Secret Wars. So,
but that's
why it's called
Secret Wars.
Well, I was just going to say, it's like Vegas. What happens on Battleworld stays in Battleworld, which is a shirt ScreenCrush should sell as merch. Do we have merch on this channel, Ryan?
Oh my gosh, Tommy, without even being prompted, you do. And actually, we really should make that what happens on Battleworld stays on Battleworld. As you guys know, we have the Doomsday Festival shirt. I love this one. This is, since we're talking Spider-Man, we have the Bonesaw versus Human Spider, if you want to see the card. This isn't related, but this is a shot of David Ellison real quick, okay? And here's the Hulk saying, that's my secret, I'm always working. And I should have brought this up earlier when Colton said, here's the thing, because we do have The Thing as John Carpenter's The Thing, in addition to lots of other fun merch like the Fraser Beast, the X-Men, the Nighthawk's Diner, Tony Stark, Granting Life to Ultron, et cetera, et cetera. Links for these and more are below. To the super chats real quick, we've got Fraser Williams Cash gave us £5. Thanks so much. I covered this topic on my own channel, Frontier Comic Books. There's your free plug. Coupelo has a really good theory for $6.90. Sadie Sink is playing your mom. That's my favorite so far. And Malik 6091, friend of the channel, gave us $10. Said Shathra is such a waste of casting for Sadie Sink. I can't imagine why they would want to give Shathra a big role in Secret Wars despite her multiverse ties. That's a great point. Why are you going to focus on Shathra, guys? unless you're trying to make her a household name.
She's really going to make a name for herself right here.
But here's what, Tommy?
She's going to make a name for herself right now. Whatever the Gambit thing is.
I'm about to make a name for myself. Like this
hey, always be plugging. ABP.
Always be plugging. Here's my thing about Secret Wars, right? Like I said, here's my thing. So with Secret Wars, if everybody forgets everything, and I assume Peter Parker is going to get the black suit on Battle World. If everybody forgets, it's maybe like a time travel story like Days of Future Past where only Logan remembers and nobody else knows. Maybe Spider-Man remembers because then he would remember the suit. But doesn't it seem like a giant effing waste of time if nobody remembers or learns from the experience?
I mean, that's movie making, Ryan.
That's true.
No, I think we will have somebody like in the books. They established recently that Miles Morales does remember what happens. He remembers everything, and he is like one of the main characters. Yeah.
That's rough for him.
It is rough for him.
Was destroyed.
He remembers the Ultimate Universe, which he came from. This was something that they were very muddy about for a while because they took the Ultimate Universe, destroyed it, and then the only two characters they really brought in were Miles Morales and the Maker, the evil Reed Richards, who was just kind of bouncing around and doing stuff.
Chef's kiss, an amazing villain. The newer Ultimate books too. So good.
He's great. But Miles Morales, they were very fuzzy about it because suddenly Miles and his parents and then eventually his baby sister were just kind of living in Brooklyn. And you're like, what does he know? What does he actually remember? And they very simply, I think it was Jonathan Hickman did it in one shot where the Maker visits him and is like, hey, you want to go back to the Ultimate Universe? And Miles is like, yeah, I kind of remember everything. Like he doesn't explicitly say it, but you know it. So they could do that since they don't have Miles yet. They could do it with, like you're saying, Tom Holland, Spider-Man potentially could fill that role.
And the Fantastic Four. I think if you're going to wipe anybody's memory of the previous universe, it's probably got to be them. Because when they show,
I just hope they don't harp on it. Like kind of like what they do with the blip. I mean, if you think about it for too long, the blip is like, that should be like all they talk about, just the consequences of like what that
on
means.
The other hand, we don't talk about the plague that much, which is really weird. I know that the two aren't comparable. One is like the erasure of half the universe, but like you can go through a weird life altering thing and we want to get back to normal as soon as possible. I do agree though. Boy, they sure did focus on the
remember that COVID thing? It was something a few years ago.
I don't know. No. Oh my God. I watched so many good TV shows during that. That was great. Yeah. That's kind of where we're reduced to. I agree. If it is something, then they can't harp on it. And with the Fantastic Four, I always kind of assumed what they would do is like Natasha Lyonne's character would show up at the end, and seeing her would be like, oh, cool, everybody's back. But it's a big thing to like lose everybody. Do you remember Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 12 was the issue after they combined all of the different infinite multiverse into one planet, and nobody remembers except for like 4 people. I think you have to do it that way.
It depends on what they want to keep, right? Like, I think Fantastic Four is a great example because they're probably not going to be on a 1960s style Earth at the end. They're going to be on regular MCU Earth. So having them hit the ground running and not be like, oops, we're out of time, so much as we're having a modern Fantastic Four adventure in Fantastic Four 2, that makes a lot of sense. Same with X-Men, not having, mind wipe them, have them be like, we're a new team of X-Men joining together rather than, God, we had this horrible experience on Battle World, makes a lot of sense. But if you're continuing with anybody else, if you're continuing with Sam Wilson, Thor, like we're saying, maybe the exception is Spider-Man, have a couple of people definitely remember what happens so it does affect them into their journeys going forward. But I think if you're Marvel, you can pick and choose. Is it important to put in this movie or TV show for them to actually remember it and kind of keep it fuzzy rather than, on the way out of the theaters at Secret Wars, be like, hey, here's a dossier of who remembers and who doesn't.
Here's a file.
Here's a file.
Study up. And that's the thing, like it always gets too complicated. And sometimes the directors, like the Russo brothers, were kind of ambassadors for Endgame and Infinity War because they had to clarify in interviews. And it's stupid this even needs to be clarified, but this is the kind of nerd shit that we really enjoy. Had to clarify, yes, when he snapped, people who were in airplanes were on the ground. Like, like they had to make sure that all those little, technically everybody should be spinning off into space because the Earth is rotated and moves throughout the universe for 5 years. So we're not even in the same location. going back to this, right? I want to go back to a couple of the rumors here about this mystery character that she's playing before we talk about the other people, if any, she can be playing. We've also heard rumor, I mentioned the mind control powers, that damage control is after her, that there's something about her dead sister, which again plays into the Jean Grey thing. The damage control is after her, damage control being the entity that used to be a janitor service, but now apparently is a super-powered enforcement service. And they're after her, and the Punisher protects her and takes her under his wing, which actually, if you watch Punisher season 2, similar storyline. So it's Frank Castle, kind of following season 2. I'm like 3 episodes in, and I'm like, how the hell did I wait so long to watch this?
Oh, dude, and it's got the girl from Ted. I love her. Yeah. She is not used to it. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, fantastic. No. It's fantastic so far. Well, because I was like, I'm going to be covering Daredevil, so I should really see like what else Dario Scardopane's done with this character, and plus the Punisher special is going to be coming out soon. So that all kind of leads into a thing, and I've talked about this on past videos. If damage control is after Jean Grey, then that means they're after mutants, and then I think it makes total sense to use this as a setup for the mutant saga. What do you guys think of that?
I like that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was sorry. Go ahead.
I saw you taking a breath.
No, really. No, I think we all should. I really think. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so it's my turn to speak now. And I cede the floor. Okay, it's really nice of him to contribute like that. Good. All right, go ahead, Tommy. What are you gonna say?
Well, no, I just think that if it's like young runaway Jean Grey who doesn't understand her powers, then that makes sense for the Department of Damage Control to be like, maybe they suspect her of murdering her sister or something, like, like if it's like a thing of like, it's like a fugitive situation, then I think that makes sense. I just, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, then we just have a convoluted introduction to Jean Grey. Like the thing that I'm like manifesting out on screen now is like, all right, so here's a character that most people are introduced to as like a professor of the X-Men. Like she's like a welcoming character in the X-Mansion in the movies and in the cartoon and comics. Mm-hmm. So it's like to introduce her as like a older teenager runaway who's like running from the law is interesting, but it kind of convolutes the introduction of the X-Men later a little bit. So I just don't know.
I think it helps the introduction. Yeah. Because imagine that like when we meet the X-Men, we've already met a couple of them in other places. Yeah. So then it's sort of more like the Avengers.
Well, yes, that if they do it that way. So I guess that would lean towards recasting most of the X-Men in post Secret Wars, right?
And I think they probably will. And I actually got kind of excited when you were talking because I think everybody expects a sort of back to basics X-Men when they eventually do the movie, like they're in the mansion, there's Professor X, etc. But what if instead they do exactly what you're talking about, where they're on the run? Like that gives us a actual reason for the X-Men being hated and feared and being chased by damage control across the country, have to join together that way. Because it's a very different story. It definitely leans into the whole like youth versus adults ethos of the X-Men. I think that would be cool.
And then the
great idea by me. I claim total credit for it. And let me know what you think in the comments, guys. I know you'll be nice about it.
And then the movie can end with Professor X, kind of like the end of that. I mean, basically, let's take the ending of the best X-Men movie ever, X-Men Origins Wolverine, which ended with Professor X like recruiting.
Oh, dude, you should have seen. When did that movie come out? 2000 what?
6, I think.
No, wasn't it later? It was
2008. 8. Yeah, it was 8.
You should have seen like 10-year-old me. I was losing my shit in that movie theater when Xavier walked out. I'm like,
Colt was shredding on an electric guitar.
See, I thought when I saw X-Men 3, the opening with him and with Magneto and Professor X was the first de-aging done in a movie. My jaw was on the damn floor. I was like, how in the hell did they do that? Right. Yeah. Again, I'd never seen it before. I thought that it looked like rubber and terrible at the end of X3. Like that to me looked like a cartoon character. It's like the alien at the end of Mission to Mars.
You mean at the end of Origins?
Yeah, Origins. Yeah,
it did.
This guy wasn't fooled.
Yeah.
This guy wasn't fooled.
Super quick question. If Patrick Stewart, if Xavier is like a character who, I mean, if Jean Grey is a teenage, like young adult character at this point, then that would mean there's an Xavier and a Magneto. So where
maybe not till post reboot.
So maybe they just don't exist. Are they going to go as far as to say Wanda has uttered the words "no more mutants" and history was rewritten? Like, probably, I feel like that's a little deep.
Probably not. I think what they would do is when you combine the multiverse, right? There are certain characters who we've seen appear in different universes, but when it's combined, certain people, kind of migrate over and overlap and are recast or reconfigured. Mm-hmm. And I think they'll approach it honestly like James Gunn has with the DCU, which is just don't worry about it. If we have granular questions along the way, I think honest to God, they can have one dialogue scene that explains it. That can be the gist of what we said a second ago. Yeah. Peter remembers. He's talking to somebody else who remembers. Why don't they remember? Not everybody will. They look at the camera and say, and you shouldn't worry about it, and continue on about the business. They
also have a great character in Deadpool who can be like, recast.
He
wanted too much.
I really hope that Deadpool, they find that balance with him too, where he's just treated like he's insane by everybody around him, because that works so well in the comics. I don't know if he's ever in a scene with She-Hulk, not going to be played by Tatiana Maslany, but if he's ever in a scene with her, how they'll reconcile both of their direct addresses. Let me get to a few super chats here, guys. We got some really fun ones here. We got Jordan Enrique, friend of the channel, gave us $5. Thanks so much. Could Sadie Sink's character be explained at the end of the Punisher special? That could be a cool introduction, because that'll probably come out before the movie, right?
Yeah, May, right?
Yeah.
The idea of him protecting her is pretty cool.
Yeah, might be a post-credit scene.
Post-credits, exactly.
Yeah. Rachel Cole is one that gets thrown around a lot. I made the mistake of saying once she was Punisher's sidekick. She's really not. I mean, she's an Afghanistan veteran who basically becomes his partner and sort of trainee. And a lot of people think that too, maybe because she has red hair. But
the only thing that works against her showing up at the Punisher special is you feel like that's going to be pretty serious, right? Like that's going to be John Bernthal going, I don't know if I can say balls to the wall on this channel, but I just did.
You can.
Cool.
Tommy says and thinks worse at all times.
Just going hard on like he loves the Punisher, and I think he really wants to do the Garth Ennis Punisher Max in that special type thing, like go really hard R on the whole thing. So then to suddenly have a post-credit scene would be like, here's my mutant friend. Is
well, no, it'll be a news report. So I mean, we all know that.
And then we get to hear he gets to say to Jean, "Let me tell you something, Red." That's what I want.
Perfect. That I would be shocked if he doesn't at least call her Red in that. And then look at the camera and go, like on Daredevil. Bear Arms Channel gave us $6.16. I understood that reference. Very good job. Plot twist. Franklin resets this is fucked up. Franklin resets the entire MCU. He sees a young Stan Lee pick up a pencil and tells him, "Hey, stop." Well, for one thing, it'd be one thing for Stan Lee to pick it up, but I think Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and Bill Everett and Joe Simon also need to be there. But just saying, the people who actually did create most of this stuff. But anyways, what do you guys think about that? Could we see like an entire reboot? Soups to nuts, balls to walls, so to speak?
Yeah, I think the nuts could be all in the soup and on the wall for it. I don't want them to break the fourth wall and have like a Stan Lee thing. Please, for the love of God, don't do that. Kevin was enough.
Stan and Jack were in Fantastic Four.
God, and Stan had a cameo in but that one was cute. He had like a full-on cameo in Spider-Man the Animated Series in the finale.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he did.
I have a super chat question that kind of applies. But it's for free. Do you guys think that if they are putting Jean Grey in this movie and they have Punisher in it, they have Hulk in it, do you think they're kind of tricking Sony where Sony's like, yeah, well, put all these Marvel characters in here, and what they're really doing is they are making it so intertwined with the MCU that Sony really just has no way of ever being able to pull out again and just put them in on their own.
It could be a dirty trick. You guys take that question. Somebody's at the front door of the store. I'm going to go see who that is while you answer Cole.
Yeah. Yes.
He's gone.
I mean, partially, as far as I read, and maybe you guys know different, but Not that Kevin Feige was like, I'm ceding this to you, but wasn't this more of an Amy Pascal thing? And Amy Pascal pretty traditionally has been like, you know what we need in these Spider-Man movies is more characters. So I do wonder if there was Kevin Feige being distracted with a lot of other things and Amy Pascal using, opposite of what you're saying, using that opportunity to be like, why don't we just put Hulk in here and Punisher and we can introduce the X-Men. Here's 15 villains and hey, Sinister Six movie, here we go.
Well, that was their side of the deal was, hey, we have Spider-Man in our Avengers movies. You can have Avengers in your Spider-Man movies. So yeah, that was their initial deal.
My main question is like how all of this fits together, because having Hulk and Punisher, and if she is Jean Grey of the X-Men, and then also we have Scorpion, Tarantula, Tombstone, maybe a bunch of other characters are in there. That's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that like it's one of those things where just describing it, it's like, is this just going to be a convoluted like launching mechanism for a bunch of other projects instead of a fourth Spider-Man movie, which would be a real bummer, right? Like,
well, I think the missing ingredient of every great Spider-Man movie is more characters.
Yes.
I think when I look back on my Spider-Man, I'm like, man. Yeah, there should have been 8 more villains in Spider-Man 1. Most of the characters we're talking about, though, are going to be like in a montage at the start, I think. I mean, I don't think we're going to.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Well, that's what really just staples my balls to the wall with the soup is that that they say it can't be a multiverse movie because it's supposed to be a street level Spider-Man movie. Okay, but now they're throwing in the Hulk and the Punisher, and we're going into Doomsday anyway. I don't know. It feels very big. I am so excited for Spider-Man to have his own movie whenever that happens.
It's the Hulk that really trips me up, honestly, because, conversely to what I was saying earlier, I'm not a big fan of the mystical Spider-Man stories. Whenever they do a gang war in the Spider-Man books, when it's like, oh no, it broke out and the city's on fire and the Kingpin is fighting Tombstone in the streets. I love that. I love that stuff. That's always really fun. And Spider-Man just stuck in the middle being like, I am way out of my depth. I would love this movie to be like that. And then what is the Hulk doing there? I just don't know.
Well, I keep thinking about the Hulk. Like we saw him. Like, okay, so if you're like, okay, the Hulk's going to be in it, you kind of think, well, they'll probably save him for the big third act thing. Well, we just did that in Brave New World. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but hell, maybe the Hulk, maybe that happens earlier in the movie or the midpoint, and that gives Damage Control license to come in and seize control.
I 100% think
Wouldn't it make more sense for the Hulk's role to be a small role that's kind of in the early parts of the movie to kind of set the action rolling rather than like having it be like an integral part of the plot?
Well, and we know that Peter's going through changes and like he's advancing. Yeah. He's going through the cycles of a spider. And who would Peter normally go to? Like a
Shathra,
Dr. Connors,
obviously. Sorry. No, you're right. No, he would go to Bruce Banner, who's an expert in transformation. You're right.
Yeah, and we talked about before, Brian. I mean, Punisher and the Hulk, they're both great characters to kind of stick with the theme of Peter becoming a monster if he's turning into like a giant spider monster or whatever. Plugging my video that went up on Sunday yesterday.
And if Peter is detached from his personal life and he's only the spider, as he is sometimes, like this happened in the 90s when they tried to make Spider-Man dark and it didn't go well. That if he has no ties to people, though, I could see him like diving into his life as Spider-Man. And I don't think he'd be tempted to kill, but if he is getting a little bit like sick of this shit, it opens the door for the black suit. I got a couple more here, guys. We got Monkey Chow gave us $5. Thanks so much. To keep the character count down, but play with the multiverse, why not another MJ from another multiverse? She'd potentially know that he's Peter then. I don't know. I doubt it.
I know Tommy.
By the way, this is what was at the door. Elements, one of our sponsors, they dropped off some salt drinks.
Just one menacing can?
Well, it's a bunch. It's all I have it all down here. They've sent me so many cans of this, and I'm glad that I actually like it. They're not paying. I don't even know when their next sponsorship is. They keep sending me this stuff, and it's great for after. It's not. I swear, this is not a sponsorship right now.
You need to bill them for this.
I really should, because I do drink this stuff all the time. It's like perfect for after workouts and stuff.
Send it to
me.
You're still doing it. I'm on a journey.
I do speak in ad. If you guys know, like I do this all the time without me. But it's like, okay, so sometimes you have a friend and they're like, oh my God, my sister, she's so depressed. I don't know what I'm going to do. And you're like, I should try therapy because like genuinely we have a code she could use, or like there's 100 ways. I'm spending so much on streaming services. Have you tried NordVPN? Like there's 100 different.
It's like the way that whenever anyone complains to me, I just chuck a Blue Chew in their face and I say, just take this. Just take this.
That's a bridge too far. We never. Okay, I'm not going to get into Blue Chews. Okay, but I don't really like the idea of a second MJ. I'll just say it. I don't like the idea of a Gwen Stacy in this either. A lot of people think that Kiernan Shipka from Mad Men and Sabrina, that she's rumored to be in it, and that Peter has a blonde neighbor. If she's going to be a blonde neighbor, she should be the girl from Spider-Man 2 and 3.
Yes, 100%.
I think our poor Peter deserves his Black Cat era.
Hell yes, he does. Especially a Peter who's not attached to the rest of like Peter Parker's social life. Perfect. And that's what I was going to bring up. I don't think Sadie Sink is Black Cat, but that's like the one Spider-Man character where I'm like, how come we've never had this character in a movie who could genuinely spin off?
What do you think of Sadie Sink not in a romantic context as Gwen, but like as Spider-Gwen potentially?
I mean, I'll never say no to Spider-Gwen, except it's a little confusing because it's the same thing as like introducing Miles in the MCU right now because we already have that series going on. Like the 2 Batmen that we talked about earlier, that always works out great when you have different characters, the same character being played by different people. Manzello gave, I think might be Mike. Can't tell from the thing. Gave us $2. Only a few heroes will remember after Secret Wars. I agree. And Harshal Sharma says, hi, everybody. I absolutely love your videos. Honestly, I'm at my happiest watching Colton wrestle with live streaming. It's pure entertainment. P.S. I hope you guys make it to India someday. I promise it's not all diarrhea here.
Jesus.
I've been to India, and it was not all diarrhea. That's some of the best food I ever had. The only time I actually got sick is when we stopped at a roadside thing, and we bought packaged food from the United States. It had to have been expired. I think it was the moon pies. They really hit me hard. It was like the day before we left. Yeah, but a moon pie from like a roadside booth in the India countryside, I don't recommend. India's beautiful. One of my favorite places I've ever been. And just let's get Mike also said, can't wait to see Tommy play a snarky IT dude in a film.
Mike, only if you're working right next to me, Mike. Only if you're my office mate.
I want Tommy to play Shathra.
I'm in talks. I'm actually in talks to play Black Cat, which is pretty controversial.
Oh, sweet!
But they said I need a reduction before I can get in the suit. So unfortunately, it's going to be a little financially crippling to me.
Here's a question for you. Orthine gave us $5 and said, assuming Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, what do you think her and Tom's role will be in Secret Wars? How will Brand New Day tie into Secret Wars and then the world after? So I think we're assuming that they're not in Doomsday because neither of them are confirmed. And the rumor is pretty strong rumor that Sadie Sink is in Secret Wars.
She's confirmed. I mean, Marvel has not come out and said it. Like that's confirmed if they say it. But I think it was Variety said it. So, I mean, that's about confirmed as they get.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. That works. Yeah, but that's a great question. I mean, what will they do? Like, okay, so Doomsday is apparently going to be about, okay, guys, we got to stop Dr. Doom. The heroes are running around stopping Dr. Doom. Spider-Man's not included. And neither is Sadie Sink. However, in the movie, they're not going to be in it, apparently. And then Secret Wars, I mean, presumably they're both on Battle World at that point. A lot of heroes have died. I think there will be no other X-Men. I think that maybe Deadpool and Wolverine, but I think all the X-Men, Magneto, Xavier, James Marsden, out. I think they're going to die or be gone in Doomsday and not make it to the battle.
Really? You don't think they'll be back as well? Like they won't? I know they've said goodbye to the X-Men, I think, 15 times at this point cinematically.
I see one more movie
they need one more to
Magneto playing chess.
Yes. No, but I really do think, I think the way, this is me pretending to be Kevin Feige for a moment, who started his career essentially with X-Men. I don't know necessarily he's going to exit Marvel with Secret Wars, but I do think he's probably looking at that as like the capstone of his career at Marvel. And he's going to want the X-Men to come back, I think, one more time. Like they are in Secret Wars. The X-Men Earth maybe gets destroyed, probably. Maybe they all die. But anybody who dies in Doomsday, you could bring back in Secret Wars on this new Battle World planet. And I think you got to have everybody. You have all the X-Men, all the Fantastic Four, all the Avengers.
Yeah, maybe.
There.
Maybe I'm thinking more like an Infinity War. They kind of like really thin the herd so they could focus down on Endgame, but that's not what Secret Wars is. Secret Wars is like everybody, the whole toy box.
Yeah, there's not a snowballs on the wall chance in hell that like Wolverine's not in Secret Wars. Like that's gonna happen. So, but you know, this might be actually really smart of them to be like, hey, instead of us just starting completely fresh with our X-Men and hoping that people will come see that off the hype of Doomsday and Secret Wars, it might be really smart to be like, hey, we're going to throw our new Jean Grey, who's played by Sadie Sink, in these other movies. So it kind of feels like a continuation. So like after people see Secret Wars, they go into X-Men and it doesn't feel like it's just like this completely disconnected thing. It feels like there's still some momentum, like they're building upon it. Yeah.
Do you guys think they will introduce any other X-Men, young X-Men from this universe? I mean, they're running out of time. There's really nothing else they can introduce them in Doomsday or Secret Wars, or do you think she's going to be the carryover into the next one? And will we see in Secret Wars some kind of cosmic entity attached to her, or do you think that they should save the Phoenix for like,
or like Shathra,
deeper in the saga? It could be Shathra too.
They could be variants.
I'm not saying no. Yeah. Andy Ma gave us $2 and asked Colton a question that I won't read out loud.
Oh,
Colton, you don't need to know this question.
And
shame on you for asking it. Anyways, what do you guys think? Is there a chance that she?
Now I want to know what that question was.
Average.
There you go. And Airman gave us $5 and said, "Didn't the little girl in Brand New Day comic who ended up being Mephisto have red hair? Is she Mephisto, guys? Is she Mephisto?"
That's for another channel to break down.
Yeah, don't tell Eric.
Look, man, everybody was saying Mephisto. We said Mephisto, but I was like, he's probably not Mephisto. You know what I mean?
Whereas Ryan calls him Mephisto.
Yeah. Me-Fisto. Yeah, but I doubt if that's Mephisto, man. I think when he comes back, that's like the villain in a Midnight Suns movie. It would be a little bit like at the end of that one Harry Potter prequel where Colin Farrell turns into Johnny Depp at the end. And the next movie is played by Mads Mikkelsen.
And that is a perfect example of why I don't want to see them do that with Doom. I've heard it suggested that like Secret Wars end with like Doom revealing his real face and it's Cillian Murphy, and I'm like, come on.
Imagine Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, signing up for that role.
But he's got to have Tommy Shelby's voice from Peaky Blinders.
Absolutely.
Only if he puts on a little hat.
I mean, you know, he's wafting in franchises right now. He's got Peaky Blinders and the 28 franchise. Okay, we got a couple more to get through here before we talk about other possibilities of who Sadie Sink could be playing. Whatever happens, says Inked Vader, $5, says, whatever happens, I truly hope this movie and Doomsday will reinvigorate the MCU. Sink has a wig and she's playing the Black Cat. Yeah, there's no reason her character has to play red hair, but they would have to dye her eyebrows. And that looked ridiculous on Thor in Thor 1.
She could be wearing fake eyebrows as well, potentially.
That's true. Yeah. CGI. They can CGI out an eye patch or a mustache. They can change the eyebrows.
If they can de-age Patrick Stewart, they can do anything.
It's true.
Is that her type of role? I feel like that's not really her style of role, a Black Cat. I don't know.
I didn't bring this up earlier, but I also feel like Jean Grey is weird for Sadie Sink. Like, I don't necessarily see her as a Jean Grey. And at least part of that is she was on Stranger Things with another psychic kid. So having her be like, now I'm the psychic kid is a little strange to me. But I don't know. She strikes me as something else. Like, that's the thing. She's very good. She's a great actress. But I don't necessarily see her as Jean Grey, who's usually a little more staid, a little more reserved, which is the whole point of the Phoenix, is it breaks her out and lets her act without inhibitions. So I don't know. And
if this character is on the run and teaming up with the Punisher, and I don't know if you guys have seen the supposed leaked trailer, I certainly haven't, but I have heard that in it, she's like threatening towards Spider-Man. And you're right. That's not the Jean Grey. That's not your mom and dad's Jean Grey, you know?
She'd be a really good rogue.
She would be. In the trailer, she doesn't have the accent, but could be. Do you guys think they're going to do the original 5 for the X-Men lineup if she is Jean Grey?
It's a good question.
So what would that be? Her,
Cyclops,
Iceman, Angel,
and
Beast.
Yeah.
I could see that. Based on what we were talking about earlier, I do wonder if they probably won't do this, but I do wonder if they wouldn't have a Professor X and Magneto, because that's been basically every single X-Men movie so far has been the two of them as the crux point. So I wonder if they would remove them from the equation, focus on those original 5 in this idea we've came up with where they're on the run, they're just figuring stuff out themselves. That could be pretty cool.
There's also, if you want to introduce that mutants are suddenly in the MCU, there's all sorts of cool things you can, I think I talked about this in a video, like mutant growth hormone's a thing where people take it and they get powers. And if you're a mutant, you're actually like, people want to capture you. There's also racist groups like the Friends of Humanity. People want to cut out your pituitary glands so they can harvest it. It's an interesting way without the X-Men and the big mutants versus mutants thing. If you just tell that story, what it's like to be a mutant in the MCU, that could be interesting. But then again, that might be what Marvel sees as a Disney Plus series kind of idea.
They could also link it back to the blip. Have that be like but see, then you get into, there's supposed to be this long history that goes back into like the 70s and like, and the Cold War, and that's part of like this mutant history. And then of course Magneto has his Holocaust history. But I guess we're getting to a point where, I mean, time is moving forward. We're getting into the 2030s. I guess there comes a point where we kind of have to leave that behind and maybe say that wasn't part of their history. I don't know.
Let me throw a idea out there that probably won't happen, but what if instead of the blip, what if there is some sort of feeling or something left over from Secret Wars and mutants get blamed for it? So that gives us the idea of like, that's why they're hated and feared. Because one of the big questions in the comics is always like, how are people able to see genetics that lets them know, oh, that's a mutant versus that Spider-Man who was bit by a spider? So if there is something different there that, I don't know, that might roll off.
Well, a lot of people think that Spider-Man is a mutant in the comics, and that could be part of the reason with Damage Control. Damage Control, the thing about this, I think, makes the most sense. They would be after Spider-Man. They would be after mutants. Go ahead.
I hope we see J. Jonah Jameson like breaking down why mutants are genetically inferior.
I hope we don't see that. Now, moving on, we've got a few super chats. We're a little behind on. Jonathan Panto gave us $5. Thanks so much. What if the symbiote, I love this, goes into the Hulk, and that's what makes him rage out? Hey, man, I've seen a Venom horse. But have you ever seen a Venom Hulk? But I've never seen a Venom Hulk. Right? Why not?
Take my money. Shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take my money. Sounds like fun.
I mean, why the hell not? We're at this point, right?
You're basically remixing different people in different rooms and different partners, like some of Tommy's favorite movies. Yeah. Why not just have the Hulk become Venom?
What if the Hulk was dropping his son off for his weekend with his mother at a custodial arrangement, and the symbiote suit jumped into his like spacecraft? He's like, Scar, I know you hate being with your mom on this. But
I mean, that makes more sense than it being in a bar in Mexico, crawling to New York slowly, and then, I'm with it. I wonder if Bruce Banner's son's going to be in this movie, or how they're going to address or handle that.
It opens with Bruce Banner over his son's grave. How could they have killed you? You'll never be seen again. No!
I genuinely think that's where we'll first see Cyclops and Doomsday over Jean's grave. So that makes him incomplete, and that explains why she's not around. And also that's what Jean does.
Jean Grey.
Jean Grave. Oh, perfect. That's like the shirt I really want to make is Nova Corps, because the Nova Corps just exists to die and get killed off. All right, we got a few here. That is all. Gave us $5. Said, "Where's my I'm the Juggernaut bitch merch?" Super chat won't let me cuss. And by the way, they also spelled it the way I thought it was pronounced as a kid, Juggernaut. So there you go. We could get away with it then. Phil Arumba from Down Under gave us $3 Australian. Don't forget that Yelena is supposed to show up. Again, I think montage with the new Avengers at the start.
I think that's
yeah.
I miss that kind of stuff. I feel like we haven't got that hardly at all this saga. I don't know. Except for Bucky randomly showing up at the end of.
You get like cameos and different things, like Wong showing up in She-Hulk. She-Hulk, I'd have to go back and check my notes. I think She-Hulk actually had more crossovers with other characters, including the best character of the saga, which is Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but it's not where you think. All right, we got a few more to get to here. Monty G gave us $5 regarding the Black Cat. I would argue that Peter is still in a relationship. He told MJ he would find her after the memory wipe. Also, Tom and Zendaya apparently got married. I didn't know that. You guys know that?
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I think
but we were referencing earlier, Goober.
Well, he's not Kirk Cameron. He can date somebody else in a movie.
What?
Here's
but
the
that's
thing.
Still
not if God's watching.
They're not dating.
God's watching.
Wait, Colton. I'm sorry, Colton. What did you say?
They're not dating.
Oh, okay. Peter and MJ.
No. Tom and Black Cat, Spider-Man and Black Cat aren't dating. You don't got to be dating. They're having fun.
Oh, I think they do. I think they need that kind of romantic, sexy tension between them.
Oh, you can have. You don't have to be dating.
I see what you're saying.
They're having a good time. Yeah.
I got you.
No webs attached.
But they're not even married. How can they be hooking up if they're not even married? Could be Joe gave us $2, a shot in the dark. She's rogue. Probably not.
Margaret Qualley.
Yeah, I just rogue's got a southern accent. MX, let's see, we've got from S. Cross gave us MX20. I don't know how much that is in whatever currency. Thanks so much, though. Could you wish me a happy birthday? I'm Alejandro. Probably. Happy birthday, Alejandro.
Happy birthday, Alejandro.
Hop on that. There it is.
I'm going to just say this, Alejandro, and please take it as a stern warning. Birthdays aren't guaranteed, okay? Birthdays come once a year if you're lucky. And so today we celebrate you surviving another one, but just watch yourself.
Tommy's right. Tomorrow's not a promise, but Tommy's definitely threatening this guy, right? Like he's definitely like.
But if I did, I would consult my friends at LegalZoom, okay?
Tommy shows up at the next podcast like a NASCAR driver with patches on him. To like...
I can be bought with my ample chest and shoulders. I can be bought.
And Twiz Teed AR. By the way, ample chest and shoulders can get you bought in more than one way. And here in New York City, Tommy, they say, Tommy, no New Jersey trash talk. I can't miss a beat. Can't miss a beat. Also, go Chiefs. Well, we don't need that kind of.
I mean, that person's ignorant. I can't. We don't need to take money from ignorant people. We don't support that type of language here on the podcast. We'll talk about nuts and soup all day, but when you start praising the Chiefs, you lose me. You lose me like most children in New Jersey are lost when they go to amusement parks because it's confusing with all the loud noises and music playing. It's tough to be a parent in New Jersey when you read at a first grade level. I get it. The signs are confusing, the bright lights. But to my friends in New Jersey, I say, hold on. Hold tight. Hold on to your loved ones because times are tough out there. And when you're the 50th out of 50 states in a union, it can't be easy.
I'm fully...
For that insult, you had to go on such a journey to like take us all the way back around to where you started.
I was trying to make it worth that guy's money. I'm sorry.
I'm fully convinced the Russos watched this show and they told Ian McKellen to go around and say that he destroyed New Jersey.
I think so
to
too.
Make me happy.
Kevin Steinkamp gave us $5 and says, "What if in Secret Wars they have no memories like the comics, but Holland still does due to his Doctor Strange spell?" Yeah, that's great. Whatever it is, I think he'll remember. Which is a shame because I don't want him to remember Dr. Octopus or Norman Osborn or anybody else because I want them introduced organically in the MCU.
Ooh, that possibility. Brian, that's the answer to your question though of like how they can do those characters in the post Secret Wars right there. Have him not remember. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. But then how does he get the black suit in Secret Wars? You know, it's like a whole.
Yeah, or all the multiverse stuff never happened.
Oh, that would be amazing if they went that far with it. If they just like went, hey, don't worry about it. And you know who, where, give us $5, said, what if the Department of Damage Control is recruiting mutants? He says mutates, but I think he meant mutants to chase down or, he says, recruiting mutates to chase down or kill mutants. Big government DODC pitting mutates against mutants. That's why they want Wonder Man and Spidey. The difference is a mutant is born with powers, a mutate gains them through other means later in life.
Yeah, it's because
that's the whole thing on Genosha. That's why I thought that.
Well, it's because mutants are freaks. Mutates are the next step in human evolution.
Right. They're just like us, you and me.
Good.
That's probably too complicated for what they'll do in the movie, but you never know. Dubai, Duhbiee, give us $5. The snap put Tony in the Doom suit, like his injuries put him in the Iron Man suit. Really enjoy the show, guys. These three are the best to have on. Okay, well. I guess screw you to all the other guests who come on. They like you the best. I don't know. The Tony Doom thing, the more I am around and reading stuff, the more I think that ain't going to be the case.
I think I said this the last time I was on. Doom is Doom in the movie. It's too complicated otherwise. You can definitely, and you probably should have characters responding to him, being like, wait a second, you look like, oh my God, it's Tony Stark back. They got to play on it at some point, but they've already established that people in the multiverse look like whatever they look like. So if it's Doom from another universe, it's Victor Von Doom, and I think that's the end of it.
Could just be Deadpool who acknowledges it.
I think they're variants, but not to the degree that he was once Tony and then snapped and survived and became Doom. I think he's always been Doom.
Hey,
but
Colton, I've known you a long time now, and I just want to acknowledge and make sure everybody understands you've gone on a journey with this, with you saying that, because you started off with it's perfect because he's a variant, and like I think your adoption videos, like it's got a ton of views. I think it might be closing in on 1 million. So like you've been the guy to be like, he's a variant. And now you're like, well, he's a soft variant.
No, I'm not backtracking. They are variants. I just think that the split point was at birth. Like, okay, now I'm going to like super double down on it.
He's a hard variant.
You're going to go all in on you're not my real dad for this whole thing. All right. And we got a couple more to get to before we sign off here. Again, from Mike, shirt. Banner walking away from the Hulkbuster suit, half turned. My other ride's a bust. That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Could be a bumper sticker too. And Juggernaut was on purpose. It was a callback. Another $2 from that is all. Thank you for the callback. That means that you watch and I appreciate your time. That's really cool. Okay, guys, there were other things, other characters she could be, but frankly, I think we're closing in on she's going to be Jean Grey. I think Shathra. Anything else, it's or Shathra. It's definitely between those two, and outliers like Spider-Girl, Black Cat, Rachel Cole, Firestar. I don't know. I think it just, why else would it be a secret? Unless she's just a new character and Sony doesn't understand why we care so much about who she's playing.
She's like, her name is Evelyn Dawes. What is wrong with you? She's a New York City socialite.
She can be Shathra, and then we meet a Shathra variant who is Jean Grey.
And that brings way more sense. That brings it full circle. Okay, we're going to sign off there. Tommy, is there some place you got to be today?
Oh, yeah, I got to get back to work. Sorry, guys.
All right, thanks so much. You can find Tommy's social links down below. Alex, again, is the host and co-host, I think, of the Comic Book Club podcast. The link for that is below, as well as to his Blue Sky. Thanks for joining us, Alex. And Colton Ogburn, you can find here on the ScreenCrush YouTube channel all the time. He's got a great video. It's coming up later today. If it's not up already, you got to check it out. So, Colton, thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me.
And we want to hear from you guys. Let us know your thoughts on who Sadie Sink is playing down in the comments below, or on our free-to-join Discord server. You can subscribe to me on Substack as well. That's always a big help. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan.